What's cracking, mi gente? This your boy D once again, coming to retro love and a little bit of knowledge. Today, I'm gonna be touching some subjects regarding some MM members that I encountered, the ones I had dealings with, and the ones that I wish I never met and that I stayed away from. I'm also gonna touch some bases on a lot of you guys always ask me why I never talked about the MS big homies that we had, or why did I never work with them or encounter with them or did any favors for them. So I will touch a couple bases, man. This story basically is gonna be my first encounter with Chico from Hazard and how I met him, how I became to be under him, and what type of character he was. Also, I'm gonna be talking about the other big homies that I run into, like Popeyes from Harpies, and why I chose to stay away from them. And even though when the opportunity presented itself for me to work for him, I declined with all due respect, kindly. But I kept a relationship with him, even though I didn't work for him. I still did a few things for him here and there, but I was not on his roster. I was never part of his primos, his godsons, none of that stuff. And the reason why I chose to turn him down and decide to remain kind of like neutral, and who I was the only carnal that I ever did favores and paros for, excuse me, and why did I choose to go with them. And I will tell you guys a little bit of my involvement of how I got involved into politics, and what did I learn from those dirty politics that they get run in prison, and how sometimes your own homeboy can set you up for failure and they can sell you out, man. With that being said, I hope you guys like these videos that I'm making. Like I said, on this channel we're gonna be dropping Mafia story business videos, and the other channel we're gonna be dropping some MS stories. I got a couple more coming up, so stay tuned for these two videos, guys. Today, as you guys can see, I'm doing another voice recording video, and the reason is because I'm in the middle of working. I'm working at home today. I'm making some shirts, some business cards that somebody asked me for. So I'm in the middle of doing that while recording this video for you guys. I'm doing multitasking. Sorry about that. My English is a little broken, okay? Dispensa. With that being said, don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a comment if you like this video. If you want to learn more about it, hit me up. Let me know. Leave your comment. It's always welcome. And you guys know I always try to reply to all the comments the best way I can. And if I haven't replied to any of your comments either, was because it was taken out of content. It was respectful. I took it like it was just being a troll. But if you're not, make sure you guys leave it again. I will answer it to you guys. Let's get into this topic, man. So, as you guys were aware, if you guys wasn't aware, I will tell you guys. I got sentenced to 35 to life. My sentence was 35 to life. I got convicted of a homicide, gang enhancements, and a couple robberies with gang affiliations on it. So the judge found me guilty in a trial of my 12 peers, which was one of the worst trials that you can ever think of. And the reason why is because everything was just a setup. It was a mean, cold setup. And why I say that, I know you guys have heard this a lot from other people before, but why I said that was because the witness that they had, their character witness, the main witness that they had was somebody. If you guys read the Double Horn books, you guys will know who I'm talking about. One of the main witnesses in that book was somebody named El Zorro, right? A Honduran gang member who had a sheet longer and bigger than half of the people in 20th Street, who had ordered and committed the murders multiple times in Honduras. He even ordered the killing of a bus full of people. He did the killing of 4 people himself. Then he ordered multiple of them, and then he fled Honduras when his family got killed because he stole from the barrio because he was one of the leaders and he happened to be the treasure guy. And there was rumors that he had stole from the gang, so they were in the hunting. So they killed I believe they killed one of his sisters and the dad or something like that. And because of that, he fled to Honduras. But he came over here under a pretense, under a cover, and the feds used him to get evidence against the 20th Street clique, and that's how the Devil Horns case actually began. Of course, they had other niches and rats that I will talk about in a little later on down the road. I will break down the book. And like I said before, and I told you guys some of my lies. Some of the books are lies. They're pretty lies. Some of them are facts, but most of the things that should be said there are lies. So with that being said, man, let's get into this topic about how I became involved with the politics, why I chose to politics even after I told myself I wasn't going to do it, and how I became to work for a few señores, and how and the price that I paid for by doing that. So as you guys know, I said it many times, and I will continue to say so. Frisco had always been a city that had never really been involved with politics like that. Frisco had always been a city that we never paid taxes to a señor like that. We never actually worked for señores over here in Frisco. We never had homies coming to the city and saying, I work for so and so, so because of that, you guys from now on is gonna pay me taxes. No. It didn't work like that, especially this MS. 20th Street clique was a clique by itself, basically. And the reason why I say by itself, because we didn't have a lot of support from the late cliques. There were some homies from the late cliques that would come down, kick up with us, have fun with us, come down, interact with us. And once they will see our get done, then they will tell their own homeboys, and then they will start coming in and out. But at the very beginning, at the very early stages, from the 90 all the way to the 1000, it was never a spot where the homies want to come to. It even came down to some of the homeboys in the lays calling us now real MS. They said that we were not mareros at all. That we were half mareros. They used to call us half MS, half mareros, because they felt that we didn't beef with 18th Street hard enough for us to call ourselves MS-13, right? And which was a pretty stupid dilemma and a very stupid argument, because in here we were beefing with what the program had dictated our enemy to be, the Northerners. So if anybody was the real mess, could have been us, the upstaters MS. But you know how people is. They always had a saying about upstaters. They always have a saying about upstate mareros, which we never took it personal. We just roll with the punches. And that's the way it was. But as the case of the Devil Horns became multiple international news, it became clear that MS and 20th Street was not just somebody to play with. We were a factor. Now here comes the dilemma. Like I said before, here on the Homeboys, we never really politic with nobody. Our beef had always been with the Northerners. We didn't really have problem with the homies. Yeah, in the early 90s, we had issues with the homies for 19, and there were always war exchange. A war almost kicked off in 2007 with 16 behind some how can I put it? Some idiotic things that happened on both sides. And when I say idiotic, it was just stupid, childish things. Homies from 20 tagging up 16 neighborhood, crossing out their neighborhood, and then they're kicking in the park, or going over there to McDonald's 16 and just being there acting like a fools, and then the homies for 16 feeling some type of way and shit like that. Little roses here and there, little interactions with them never led to a big issue. Thanks God. Some people might say unfortunately, but to me it was fortunately. It never led to a big issue. We will always wait to talk it out. We had good communication with some of the homies from 16. The older homies, some of them were Salvadorian that we knew from going to school with them. And then you have some homies that we knew that they got along with some of our homeboys from 20th Street as well. So we always had that open line. Well, when our case came around and I got convicted, I did a lot of time with the homies from 16 and 19. And I always gave them their respects. They were solid homies. A lot of them taught me a lot of stuff. A lot of them gave me a lot of clecha. So I always keep that in mind when I talk about their barrios and when I do cases on them. I always keep that in mind. I always respectful about them because they never showed me nothing but love. Some of them homies were pretty solid. One of the homies from 16 that taught me how to fight really good. We used to get down over there most of the time in the 7th floor. We used to play fight a lot. Was the homie Nacho from 16. We used to Nacho Samoano from 19. Viper from 19. Wino from 19. There was a lot of homies that are no longer there. Blue Devil, RP Blue Devil for 19. There was a lot of homies that I knew that are no longer with us. Some of them are locked up. Some of them are no longer in this earth. And it pains me to say that because I got along with the homie Blue Devil that I find out just passed away, which is a fucked up thing because he was my celly for almost 2 years, man. And we got into some shit with a lot of our own homeboys behind that because we always defended each other. He will get into some of his homeboys and I will get into some of my homeboys because sometimes we will always, he was my celly, man. He was Salvi. So we always had that. He knew the type of individual I was and I knew what type of individual I was. So when there was issues between 20 or 19, we always used to try to play we played the mediators. And most of the time we never choose sides because we always had to go back to the cell and deal with each other. And whenever he needed anything, either we're in the streets for his kids, I always was there to help him. And he gave me a lot of clecha when I was here. Well, back to the stories in prison. So after my first shoot term, I came out. I did my shoot term in Pelican Bay, and I don't say that to brag. Oh, I'm in Pelican Bay, baby. I hate that Pelican Bay syndrome. People think that they're better than this. There's a lot of good homies everywhere. But fortunately for me, I did my first shoot in Pelican Bay, and I learned a lot from a lot of homies. I learned a lot from a lot of good homies. Pelican Bay got a lot of good homies. That's the good thing. They got a lot of older homies that have been around for a long time. They had a lot of older my homeboys there in Pelican Bay in ARN and BR, right? Well, when I came out the shoe at that time, we had a homeboy from our city, from Richmond, that was working for Fast Fred from Richmond, the señor. See, I knew Fast Fred for Richmond through his kids, through his son and his daughter, due to the fact that we knew each other from high school. And that's how far our conversation had gone. Like I say, I didn't know them like that, but his kids were cool with me, so I knew his daughter and I knew his son. And I knew he was married to they were half Salvadorian, so I knew he was married to a Salvadorian woman. But I had seen him maybe once in the city, and when the Niners were playing, I believe. And the reason why I recognized him was because somebody pointed him out to me. One of my uncles, I knew him for a long time. He had done time with him before he became a carnal. And he was like, oh, that's Fast Fred from Richmond. And now that he had become a carnal, he was one of the first homies from big homies from upstate, you know. There was a couple homies from San Jose that were in the run, but he was like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first ones that came out of Northern California. I might be mistaken, so don't crucify me with it. But I know he wasn't the first one, but I know he wasn't like in the first batch. Okay, I know it was Chino. I believe Chino from Sacra or Chino from Redwood City was another one. Or Hayward, I forgot. But there was another carnal from out here too. Well, so there was a couple homies working for him there. And there was a couple homies working for Fox from South Los as well. There was, like I told you before, they always had little cliques. The big homies always had like the little cliques that they get along with. Like big homies, carnales that they get along with and they form little cliques. Like Turi with Güero Verde from Verdugo, and then dudes that had their own little clique. They had a few other carnales, so they always had little cliques like that. Well, Fox happened to be within that clique. Fox, Mike Boo from Norwalk, and Fast Fred, and then later on, Little One came into that clique, right? Well, Perico from Norwalk was another dude that was supposedly, for what I heard, with them. And then the reason why I got pulled into it because when I got landed in Santanella, Fox had a couple of seats there. Well, Fox had talked to, they were I believe they were in contact with Fast Freddy, which was in the Lake County at that time, and he wanted it the seat. He wanted it, I believe, 3 block and 1 block and 5 block and B yard to be his. He didn't have no seats in C yard where I landed. Because there were Verde from Verdugo had a lot of them 30, and then from Colton there was another dude in there. They had it, but in BR he had a C. So when we got moved to BR, my homeboy that was there from Hollywood, he was like, "Hey fool, I heard you from up north." I was like, "Yeah, so you know so and so." I was like, "I heard of him. What's up?" He's like, "Hey fool, we need a favor from you. If you could do us a favor. One of our primos gotta go, since you from up north. That will put you in a good terms with the homie." So I was like, you know what? I don't get involved in politics because I didn't really believe in politics. Doing cleanup for somebody else's benefit. I believe the dude was basura, then he needed to go. Then Simon dale gas. But other than politics business, I was always told by my older homies don't ever get involved because sometimes it's just political gain, and they send you to do the dirty work, and then you get fucked over. So I was skeptical. Well, that night he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you borrow my phone, expect the call." So while I was in the middle of the phone, it rang in the nighttime, and it was him. So he was like, "Hey, you from up north?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I heard you a good homie. I heard you already did a couple. You did 2 shoot terms already." He's like, "This is kind of weird to ask you, but I need a favor. Can you do it for me?" And I was kind of skeptical because I didn't know his voice like that. So I was like, you know what? This might sound crazy, but I know your son and I know your daughter. So he was like, what? Well, finally, well, the point is, I ended up doing the favor for him. I went to the back, and when I came back after my shoot term, because at that time in Santanera, they were either you were signing the crown to go do the shoot term in Pelican Bay or Corcoran, or they were letting you do it right there while you were pending. So I didn't sign it because they told me not to sign it, so I could do once my shoot term was out, I could get kicked out right back to the yard. So I didn't sign it, so I got kicked out right back to the yard. And when I landed there, they gave me that position. Well, while I was in the shoe, one of my homeboys from Kern Valley had pulled up there to fight one of his cases, and he was working for Chico for Hazard. And he knew my crime. He had done time with my crime, so he was like, "Hey, Fulio, come to the team. Your crime is on the team. La la la. I know you're a good homie. Que la la la." But I was like, I'm okay. I don't want to politic. He's like, "You're a lifer, fool. How come you don't want to politic?" I was like, "Cause I want to do my time the way I want to do my time. I don't want to do my time by playing somebody else's games. I want to do when I want to do. If I decide to stab somebody and I decide to do a removal, I want to do it because I feel like that's the right move for me. I don't want to keep being used like a torpedo for somebody else." He's like, "I respect her, bro, but check it out. This they gave me the whole. This could take you places. This could benefit you since you're a lifer. La la la." The same political drill that people give you, it will benefit you. If your family ever leaves you hanging, you will have a position, you can grow, you become somebody, you can get jewels. The whole same old fucking no drill bullshit. Well, I said no, but he asked me, he's like, "Look, my so and so is coming to this yard. Can you do me a favor? Can you relay a message to him?" I was like, "I could do that. I could relay a message. I don't mind relaying a message, but I'm telling you for now, I'm not. Don't tell her I'm gonna be on his team. Nothing." Chico from Hassan had just landed in CR, and I was gonna go back to CR because they wouldn't send me back to BR due to the stabbing. So I got sent to CR. Chico from Hasser happened to be coming out of the program office because they had just snatched him up, and they had interviewed him because somebody in Kern Valley had checked in and said that he had checked in because he owed us some money and he was trying to get him whacked. So as I approached the old man, he goes, I tell him who I was, and I'm like, hey, I have a message from so and so. He knew who I was talking about instantly. He goes, hey, you tell him to tell all the motherfuckers over there in Kern Valley to stop using my name, that I'm not trying to have nobody to pee me. And look, I just got snatched up. I'm trying to do my time peacefully here, la 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 la. But he was beyond peace. I mean, when I'm telling you he was red, the old man cheeks was shaking. He was pissed. He was fucking pissed. He's like, I'm trying to do my time the best way I can, calmly, without being going to the hall the time. Tell them motherfuckers keep my name out their mouth, man. If they don't know how to use the name, to just don't fucking say shit. I was like, okay. So I'm like, all right, I got you. So 2 days later, I relayed the message because I had a clap. 2 days later, the yard worker comes to my cell. And he goes, hey, fool, you're going to get moved to 4 block. I was like, what do you mean I'm going to get moved to 4 block? Why? What the fuck? For what? He's like, hey, the old man is asking for you. I'm like, what old man? I don't know. I thought he was talking about my homeboy because we had a homeboy we used to call man over there. So I thought he was talking about my homeboy, Tiny or Pantera. I'm like, what old man, fool? My homeboy? He's like, nah, the old man, the old man, the OG. I'm like, why, fool? I don't. I'm like, why? So the homie from the yard crew, I knew him. So I was like, hey, fool, why, fool? What the fuck is going on, fool? I don't know him. I don't work for him, fool. Like, what the fuck? He's like, I don't know, fool. He just told me to come and tell you that you going over there and he's gonna put you right next to him. I'm like, fuck no. Hell nah. I'm not trying to be right next to him, bro. Bro, look, check it out, bro. I got my own shit going on here. My boy, I go next to him. My cell is gonna get hit every day. Shut it. Because if you go next to the big homies most of the time, you're the holder. You always holding the cloud. You always hold the little shit because they don't want to send their phone too far away. So if they trust you enough and they know you're not going to be dumb enough and you don't really use drugs like that, because at that time I wasn't really using. I didn't start using until later on that year. So I wasn't using drugs like, you know what I mean? So they like shit like that because they know they can send you the clavo, they can send you the stuff and you're not going to abuse it. So I was like, bro, no, I'm good here, bro. I'm doing my thing here. He's like, hey, fool. He just told me to tell you to get your shit ready that you get it moved today or tomorrow, bro. In here, he sliced me a kite, right? Within the kite is like 2/4 of dope and a phone number. And he goes, call me tonight at this time. So I call, it's him. And I ask him, I say, hey, with all respect, man, why you want me over there? He goes, because I asked about you in a block and your name doesn't come up in shenanigans. You're quiet, you're doing your thug thizzle. I know you're hustling, you're doing your thing. And you're trustworthy, you don't use. And you don't have a lot of people at your door. You're smart when you're selling your shit. I was like, yeah, but I'm okay with my selling. He's like, your selling can come. He's like, but I want you here. So I got pulled up, and here's the thing, guys. Sometimes you might not want to get involved in this shit, but sometimes when they tell you, hey, you coming, you can actually really say no if you want to, but that no could cost you a lot. So I tried to tell him no, but he wasn't having it. So I got pulled to 4 block. Luckily for me, I was only there for a couple months because then I got transferred to a 180. But those months were horrible. Just to tell the truth, he was cool with me at first, but every time he would get angry, when somebody would piss him off or so, he would come to my cell. He would get my cell door literally open, and would come in there. He'd start going off, these motherfuckers. He was cool. Let me tell you guys, when he was humble, he was doing his thing. He was cool as hell. He was mellow. You could, like, if you had a rapport with him, you could joke around. Like, not to the point where you're gonna call him names and shit like that, but you could joke around with him. You could get along with him, things like that. You were cool. But when it came down to business, that man didn't play about his money. Bro, that man did not play about his money. I went to a few sales to collect for him. And believe me, every time we went to a sale, we either left with the money or we left with somebody that he wanted a collateral, either TV, CD, shoes, whatever he wanted. But if he told us to leave with something in our hands, we were leaving either with your blood in our fist. That's a mando. But we were leaving with something for him. Brand new shirts, brand new. I mean, especially if you owe him money, you told him you were going to pay him a certain day and you didn't, and then you could give him a run around, you can get in like brand new packages and clothes, and you were around getting high, and he find out, oh man, it was hell to pay for. I went to a few sales to knock some heads sense into some homie, and most of the times he will always tell me this, and this what used to trip me out. And I'm telling you guys the story because it used to trip me the fuck out. Before I would go into their sale, he will call me, right? I will stop by his door. He goes, look, give him the talk first, then boo bop him. So the first time he told me that, I didn't understand what he meant. So I asked him, what do you mean, Pops? I used to call him Pops or Theo or whatever, you know. I'm like, what do you mean, Pops? He goes, see, mijo, when you go and beat up people and you take their shit, you make them feel like you're not actually taking it. So you have to talk to them, let them know that they commit the mistake that forced your hand to do this. So that when you beat them up, you don't feel that bad. And they feel like they fucked up, so they have to give it to you. So that goes to show you how manipulated his mind was. So he wanted you to go in there and make the homie feel like it was his mistake. It was his error that was getting it boo bopping. And we were making the homie feel like he fucked up, that he had given so many chances. He fucked up. He didn't respect him to the point where the homie was coming off of his brand new stuff and you still were getting mollywop and he was still telling him it never failed. The first time I did it, I don't know if I did it wrong or the homie didn't buy it. He's been around for long. But after the second time that I gave the homie the talk, every single time, like clockwork, it would never fail. Before I walk out, the homie would be like, hey, can you tell him I said I'm sorry, bro, to Spencer? That I apologize, bro. I got love for him. To thank you for the lesson, bro. I learned now. Like, it will, without clockwork, it will work like, bro, I was blown away after the second time. We did at least 15 to 20 boop ups in the cell. Me and Marcelli. And it worked like clockwork. We would tell him to talk. And then they always ended up saying the same thing. Hey, tell him I said dispense of what I didn't mean to respect him. So I apologize. Please forgive me. That I still got love for him. That I'll go follow the program. That from now on, I'm going to do exactly what he asked us to do. And here we go. Forgive this as a cariño, as a way to tell him that I understand. Like, he would never demand us to take nobody's shit. But at the end of the day, they will always ask what you want to take for him. If you want my TV, you want my CD player, or my brand new shoes, my socks, my brand new shorts, my brand new t-shirt, my Pro Club sweaters, my Pro Club, everything. I'd be so mind-blowing to the way, because I would say exactly the words that he would tell me. I would repeat them exactly the same way to them. And it will work like clockwork. So that's what I said. It goes to show you how they can brainwash you to believe that it's your mistake. They get you addicted to the drug. They sell you the drug. And tiny little smear just to get you hooked. Then they will sell it smaller and smaller. And then they start selling you some whack ass shit that will not get you high, so you can go and ask for more and more. Then you get yourself in a $300, $500 debt. And then you start buying from the morenos because you don't want to pay your debt. Because they don't want to, if you pay 100, they don't want to give you another 100 no more. Because they'll be like, you go back to, you paying me 100, but then if I give you another 100, you'll be right back to where you are. But I give you, it will work like clockwork, man. That's what I'm telling you. He was manipulative as fuck. And it will blow my mind how he can get away with it. And that's how he was. He was like, he was cool with you. He would show a fatherly love figure. But then when he would use his iron fist, it was something to be reckoned with. Because when he would get mad, he would want, I see him slap a few homies in the day room before. One homie, he slapped because the homie was like doing laps with another homie, and he was like standing under the stairs, and he moved backwards. and the homie didn't see him. He bumped into him, and once he saw who he was, because the homie turned around like angry, his face changed when he saw him. So he turned around and just smacked him. Bow! He's like, motherfucker, watch where the fuck you going? The fuck you looking at me like that for? Like you about to do something. You ain't about to do shit. He's like, you know what? Matter of fact, go back in your cell. I don't want to see you for the rest of the day. You stay in. I don't want to see you at child. Nothing. Like, he would put them on timeout like straight to kids. And it would blow my mind, bro, how these people could get slapped and still say sorry. And I would be like, how long would it take for me to get to that point? If I ever put myself in that predicament, what would be my reaction? I would actually question myself, because somebody slapped me. My reaction as a human being gonna be to sock him right back. Will I be able to withhold that urge to punch back? Well, I will question myself, and I sometimes will talk to myself and be like, "Perro, like, you think if we ever get at us like that, we'll be able to withstand it?" And we will have to talk in whispers type of shit, because he was right next door, or we will have to turn the music a little bit loud, or put the headphones right on the vent so he couldn't hear. Because knowing him, he said hear the whole conversation, bro. Because I found that out. He was listening to a conversation one time when he was like, "Oh, you love your lady, huh?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, last night you were telling her you love her. You were like this. You were all romantic." He was clowning me. He was like, he was being funny with me. But see, with me, I got to the point where we could kind of tell jokes, but I didn't really play with him like that. Like, I didn't really joke with him like that, due to the fact that I didn't know whenever he would wake up grumpy and feeling, because sometimes you could tell somebody wake up at the wrong side of bed, they had this angry face. But with him, you could never tell, because he had this poker face. He had a poker face that you never know until he spoke to you what kind of mood he was. So what I used to do every morning, once I find that out that was his face, I will say good morning to him. And his good morning sometimes will be the same. Simple, good morning. But then I'll be like, how was your day? You slept good last night? Your back didn't hurt? Because I know his back was hurting. It was killing him. So once I get him going in that conversation, then I know what kind of attitude, what kind of system he was going to be. Oh, today he's going to be good. Today he's going to be an asshole. Today he's going to be a dick. So even though he's no longer here, and I always say, like, you guys know me, I always say when there's carnales that were straight bullies, I would never even get close to them. But him, he had his good moments, because I had seen him come out of his pocket, look out for homies, buy him shoes, buy them clothes. And his entourage, the people he had around him, he will make sure that they will take care of. He will tell them, make sure you guys have brand new shorts, brand new socks, don't wear the same old thing. Make sure you guys carry yourself properly, because you guys are a representative of me. So I don't want people to think that I got my people looking all muddy. And like, he will use that word to compare us to black people, but saying it in a derogatory way. I don't want you guys to be smelling musky. Ooh. So it will surprise me how he could carry you, but at the same time turn around and just smack you the fuck out. So that's the way I started learning how to walk around him, to try to get him talking every day in the morning, because you will know how people's feeling if they get up on the wrong side of bed if you talk to them in the morning. Because there be times that when I wake up, I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to be left alone. Don't talk to me. Don't say good morning to me. And I'll be days like that. And he was able to read me as well. Just that's why I was reading, because he know when I woke up feeling some type of way, he'd be like, "Who got on your bad side, man? What's up?" We had to go knock some heads, and he would start like shadow boxing with me. And I'd be tripping out, because I'm like, damn, he's in a good mood today. What the fuck? So I have to tread lightly, because he can be in a good mood 1 second and just turn off on you like instantly. So that was the danger with him. You can catch in a good mood, but the problem was he could be in a bad mood in a flash. You could put himself in a bad mood in a flash. And to otherwise, when he was in a bad mood, he would stay in a bad mood. You know he was not gonna get happy until he felt like it. And most of the time, it will go all the way to dinner time, where you will otherwise see him that he would light up a little bit. But when he was in a good mood, the problem was that he could switch to an angry old man quicker than anything. So that's why I was skeptical when he would be in a good mood. My second encounter that I had with Popeyes, I'll keep it short, was not pleasant at all, and that's why I chose to, when he invited me alone to work for him, to say no, because My interaction with him was I was supposed to drop something off to him, and when I did, his reaction to me handed to him was just off the roof. He was rude. He was angry. He was talking loud. That's the way he was. He was a loud talker, and that's something that a lot of people could tell you. He would talk to you, but he would express himself loud. He was a loud talker. He would like to. I don't know if he liked for people to know that he was roasting you, or he was on your helmet, or he was getting on you, or that was just the way he was. But when I dropped it off to him, my job was just to hand it to him and walk away. So that's what I did. Well, he stopped me to ask me where it was coming from, who was giving it. I said, look, it was passed along to me for a yard crew to yard crew, and I was just told to give it to you, and that's exactly what I'm doing. His reaction, his answer to that was like, well, your job is to find out when I ask you fucking things. Don't give me no fucking short ass answer. Like I would just ask to pass along. Find out where this shit coming from. What about this shit coming through for the cops? Like I was like, what the fuck? Why would I bring something for the cops? It's coming from the homies. It's rap. It's fucking well tucked in. Like, homie, what the fuck? That's what's going through my head. But I was like, okay, next time I would just ask where it's coming from. Even though some people might not want to tell me because I'm like, I'm new to this yard. I'm just a yard crew. He's like, it doesn't matter. You next time you bring something to me, you find out before you give it to. What about if it's coming from my enemies? And if shit gets poisoned or something like that. Like his mind would play tricks like that. That's the type of person he was. He was just an angry old man and a loud talker, and that's why I chose to stay away. When my homeboy that was working for him, had been working for him for years, approached me to work with him, I told him straight up, Charles, homie, not for him. I'm not doing it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing it. Not for him. That old man is grumpy, and I told my homeboy straight up, between me and you, that old man is grumpy. That old man is rude. I do not want to be in the bad side of him, and one day he wakes up and decides that I'm no longer in favor for him. He just got me whack. I'm cool. I'd rather go down my path the same way I've been doing it, do my thing quietly, and just keep on pushing. But other than that, I'm okay. And that's why I never interact with him more than 3 or 4 times after that. Because his rudeness and the way he would treat people and the way he would talk to homies, it was just not to my liking. And there's nothing that we could say because we're in the program. So, I mean, we say something, we risk the way to get whacked. And we don't say nothing, we get looked at different. So it's right to stay away from him than anything else. With that being said, man, I hope you guys like this story. I hope you guys like the interactions that I have. I have a few other interactions with other carnales that I will tell you guys a little bit more later about. And with that being said, don't forget to hit the like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and leave me a comment, man. Let me know if you was interested in hearing more stories like this. I will give them to you. With that said, always be kind to one another. Remember to tell your loved ones you love them because tomorrow is never promised. Let's get it, mi gente.